Hey guys, what's up? It is Dangeles, and welcome back to another episode of Los Dangeles Trivia. So I did the first episode of this series a few months ago, and it got mixed reviews, but I wanted to bring it back for another try, to give it another chance with a slightly different format. So the format for the original video was I asked the question, and then I asked you guys to pause the video, put your answer in the straw poll, and then resume and find out your answer. And I'm going to do that a little bit differently this time around. I'm going to ask you guys the trivia question about Los Angeles, and then I'm going to give you guys the options for the answer. I'll give you guys the 3 or 4 options that I have listed, and you guys can vote then. And then I'm actually going to reveal the answers in the next video for constructing Los Angeles. So the next video will be CLD, and at the beginning of that video, I will reveal all the correct answers, okay? So it gives you guys a little bit more time to maybe research and find out what you think the actual answer is. And you don't have to worry about like making sure you pause it so you don't get the answer spoiled for you. So that's how I'm going to do it this time. A lot of you guys really enjoyed this series the first time around, so I didn't want to just throw it away after one episode. I wanted to give it another chance, but I think this format will go a little bit better. So let's jump right into the questions. We have 8 questions for this episode of Los Angeles Trivia, where I'm going to ask you guys miscellaneous questions about the history of Los Angeles, and you guys have to see how knowledgeable you are about my city. So just based off all the CLD episodes and all the videos I've done on the city. So we have 8 questions this time as opposed to 6 from the first episode. And these questions, I think, are a little bit more difficult than the first ones, so let's see how many you guys can get. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I've actually ranked the questions from easiest to hardest, so we're going to start off with the easiest, at least what I think is the easiest, and then we're going to go down the list, and the last one will be the hardest, okay? So let's get started with the first question. All right, guys, and for the first question of Episode 2 of Los Angeles Trivia, the question is, there are 2 billboards currently on the highway of Los Angeles. What do those 2 billboards represent? Is it A, McDonald's and Nether Leather, B, McDonald's and Flower Pot Coffee Shop, C, Flower Pot Coffee Shop and Nether Leather, or D, Flower Pot Coffee Shop and the Block 12 Mining Company? So you guys can either answer now or just save and try to go research it and see if you can. I mean, that's a pretty easy question, so all it takes is a few minutes of Googling and you can figure that out. But that's the first question. So again, I'm going to reveal these answers in the next episode of Los Angeles. So let's move on to question 2. So for the second question here of Los Angeles Trivia, the question is, how many bridges in Los Angeles cross over water? So there are a bunch of bridges in Los Angeles. Some cross over roads, but how many of them cross over water only? So the options are 5 bridges, 2 bridges, 3 bridges, or 8 bridges. So again, you can either answer now or do some research, and then the answers to these questions will be revealed in the next episode of Constructing Los Angeles. So let's move on to question number 3. So here's question number 3, guys. Like I said, they get a little bit harder as we're going on, so it might take a little bit more brain power to get these. Here is question 3. The Alpine Mansion actually wasn't an original idea for that area of the map. What was the original idea for that northwestern space of Los Angeles? Here are the options. We have more neighborhood space, so basically just an expansion of the neighborhood, which I guess the Alpine Mansion technically is an expansion of the neighborhood, but I mean maybe 2 or 3 houses in that space as opposed to one gigantic mansion. The second option is a lake. Third option is a sub-world area, so I could have my subscribers build houses. And the fourth option is a forest. So you guys can go ahead and try to answer that question. And let's move on to question number 4. All right, guys, it's time for question number 4. Let's go ahead and jump into the question. Which of the following houses has not been moved from its original location? The first option is the Tudor-style house, the first one. The second option is the log cabin, and the third option is the Victorian house. So that's a tough one. I think you guys will have a little bit of a hard time with that one. But let's move on to question number 5. Okay, guys, it's time for question number 5. This question actually applies to one of my more recent builds. So here's the question. How many businesses are there in the strip mall of Los Angeles? Are there 6 businesses, 7 businesses, 8 businesses, or 10 businesses? So go ahead and see if you can figure that question out, and let's move on to the next one. We got 3 more questions to go, and these ones are a little tough, so let's jump into them. All right, guys, and now moving on to question number 6. This is where the questions get a little bit trickier. So here is the question. What is the par on the first hole of the Los Angeles mini golf course? Is it par 1, par 3, par 2, or par 4? That one's a little tough, but there is a way to find that answer pretty easily, I will admit. But off the top of your head, that one's pretty hard. let's move on to question number 7. All right, guys, just 2 more questions left. Here is question number 7, and this one is pretty tough. How many flower pot coffee shops are there in Los Angeles? And this includes standalone buildings, and it also includes like kiosks inside of other builds. So how many are there total in Los Angeles currently? The options are 5, 4, 2, or 7. That one's tough, guys. Good luck with that one. Let's move on to the final question. All right, guys, and here is the last question. I believe this one to be the most difficult, but, we'll see what you guys think. You guys can order the questions in difficulty if you want to. But here is the last question for today's episode of Los Dangeles Trivia. Remember, all of the answers will be revealed at the beginning of next episode of CLD, and we will see how many of you guys got them correctly. And just a quick reminder, you can take all your answers. They will all be submitted in the straw polls in the description. So if you look at the description, I have each question, question 1, question 2, etc., and a link to a straw poll where you guys can give your votes. So make sure you click on those if you want to participate in this. It's kind of like an interactive video, and that's kind of why I like it. So anyway, let's stop dilly-dallying here, and let's go to the final question. So here it is. What is the highest priced product in the Flower Pot Coffee Shop in the Plaza? So as of right now, the Flower Pot Coffee Shop in the Plaza is the only Flower Pot Coffee Shop in the city that has an actual menu with prices on it. So you're going to have to refer to that one. What is the most expensive product on that menu? Is it $6.99, $9.99, $8.95, or $8.99? So I think that is the toughest question. That might be a little bit hard to find the answer to. So that is going to do it for today's episode of Los Angeles Trivia. Hopefully this goes a little bit better than the first one. I really liked the idea of this when I first came up with it, but I wanted to kind of refine it, and I got some suggestions from you guys on how to refine this. So hopefully this one is a little bit more enjoyable and a little bit more challenging for you guys, and we can kind of continue this series in the future. So it took me a while to come up with these questions, but I think there's some good ones. So thank you guys very much for watching this episode of Los Angeles Trivia. Give it a like if you did enjoy it, and stay tuned for the answers to all the questions at the beginning of next episode of Constructing Los Angeles, which should be very soon, maybe the next video we put up. So again, make sure you vote for your answers in the straw polls below. Thank you guys for watching. It's been Dangeles, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.